Hello, likers. Welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl, Malaika. So, likers, we are doing the critical review of Mr. Aloy series, When Marriage Becomes a Nightmare, episode 26. So, it starts with Ebere Jennifer, who has come to the rescue of her sister-in-law, because they are very close. They are friends and all the rest. So Ebere is the junior sister, and Jennifer as well. Her native name is Ebere, her English name is Jennifer. She's a sister to Jonathan, but she and Clara have a bond, a very special bond. Ebere is that type of person that if you call, she answers. So apparently Clara was the one who called her to come because she was going through a lot. So, and she came, and Clara was very happy to see her. But Ebere is not happy because Clara is showing weakness. Clara is crying, and that is not something that she likes. Ebere is a gbas person. Yes, she's that type of person that will give you woto woto. She knows saying your papa. That's who she is. And she started warning Clara not to cry. That she's asking, why are you crying? Like, this is not a crying matter. Whosoever wants to bring you down, I will bring that person down. That is one thing for sure. I will definitely bring that person down. She's making Clara to understand that they are in this together. Like as normally some women, when they get married into a family, but we cannot say some women, because even some families, you're married into them, you want to take them as your own, but they'll be rejecting you. But some families also, they want to take their sister-in-law as their own. She'll be rejecting them. So it's a luck, it's a blessing when you go into a family where their sister is through thick and thin with you. That's the kind of person that Ebere is. She's through thick and thin with Clara. She made Clara to understand that you are my sister and I'm standing with you. I am here to fight my brother, because Clara normally called her because of Jonathan, because of all the nonsense he has been doing. Clara is a soft person. Clara is a type of person that has soft mind. That knows very well that as a woman, she needs to be soft. But now Jonathan is a type of husband that takes advantage of that. Jonathan, knowing fully well that his wife is a soft person, he takes advantage. And Clara needs somebody like Jennifer by her side, to keep her grounded and to make her understand that you must fight Jonathan. Yes, tooth and nail, you must fight him. So that is what is happening. So now, Clara told, Ebere, Jennifer, she promised Clara that I am here to fight. I will fight my brother. I will give him what I will give it to him. To clean your eyes, don't cry. She consoled her and promised her that things are going to change, that she should not bother. Everything will be okay. So the next thing shows Jonathan that has called his entire family, because he has a decision that he wants to take, and he wants to make them known, because Clara also is involved. In short, to him, this meeting was for Clara. He called this meeting purposely for Clara because he has something very important to say, because Clara has a very big role to play in this decision. But now this is my point. If you want to take a decision, why would you impose that on another person? You want to take a decision, you take your decision, and that is your business. You decide on that and you stick to it. You don't need another person's validation. But we know Clara's mother with her long mouth. I'm sorry to say this, honestly, she irritates the F out of me. She'll always support rubbish. Yes. So in fact, what Jonathan is trying to say, is the fact that Jonathan is saying that, so if Jonathan is still convinced like us, that how can you be convinced when the medical report is saying something else, you are seeing something else? The medical report, your child is even telling that she was never abused, she was never taken advantage of, she was never, there was no forceful entry on her, but you're still like bent on the fact that your daughter was abused. If you had money, you would have been able to fight Hanks. You would have gone to any part of the world to fight him, any court possible to fight him. And since you cannot fight him, you rather avoid him. So by resigning, yes, he wants to resign. And he wants his wife to leave the restaurant as well and follow him and join him to resign. But now this is a thing. You want to resign. I never told you I want to resign. You know, he wants his wife to resign, stay at home, and take care of their home. Stay home, like he wants his wife to be a stay-home mom. You know, a mother to the child you told her wasn't her child. You want her to stay at home with her. You know, you want her to be like, this is crazy, like this. This is really crazy. Because I don't understand why you would say Clara did not give birth to that child, so she must stay home to take care of the child. If Clara accepts something like this, I will stop watching this series. I'll stop doing review. I can't lie. You know. So now Clara is confused because she's like, okay, if I refuse, and he's talking about divorce, like I will divorce you. You know, and to him, I don't know, sometimes guys, it's not because I'm not married, but people should stop. Marriage is not favor to one person, it's favor to both. It's not even favor. You know, to be committed to somebody, you're not doing that person a favor. We are not doing each other. Like, if we say it's favor, it means we are doing it both ways. Because he's taking it as if he's doing a favor by marrying Clara. And Clara's mother is that this is why she retained. This is why I say her long mouth, because she'll put her mouth everywhere it's not supposed to be put. She does not want to hear the word divorce. You know, Clara should start begging, that she does not want to hear that word divorce. How can he talk about divorce? And Clara is then not saying anything. Clara should just start begging immediately, because how can your husband talk about divorce and you're sitting there? Are you for real? Are you for real? And this is a reason why people like Jonathan will be out there manipulating people. Yes, manipulating people. And Clara is trying to understand, like, okay, let's assume that I chose to leave this job. I quit the restaurant. What are we going to use? So he's talking about Clara's savings. So Clara must have saved. From which money? The same restaurant you don't want. So you are ready to use money from a restaurant that you never owned. You're ready to use money from that restaurant. So Clara's savings from that restaurant should be given to you so that you start a business. They can use it to open a business and run. So the same restaurant, hi God, some men are so shameless. Some people can be shameless. Even Clara cannot believe herself. Like she couldn't even believe her ears. She couldn't believe what she was hearing coming from Jonathan's mouth. Even Jennifer was going gaga. Jennifer couldn't believe her own brother would be so shameless to be saying things the way he's saying them. Because how can you reject a man? You reject his money, but you want the one that your wife saved to be given to you. You want to use that one to do what? What do you want to do with it? And he's so shameless. And you're thinking that it is not every woman that you use marriage to hold down. No. It is not every... This thing about I will divorce you. Some people should understand that you're not doing a favor. You people are doing favor to each other. So the next thing shows Benny in her room. Somebody knocked. He was her dad, and she asked him to come in. Like, oh God. So he walked in, pretending to be to come and check on his daughter. Like, this man, like, as may God not give us a partner, whether being male or female, that will be manipulative. That would really want to use, because the worst thing that you could do to any person, whether a man or a woman, is to use their child against them. It is wrong. That's all shades of wrong. Now he's coming to manipulate his daughter. He wants his daughter to concord with his story. He wants his daughter to act like to play along, to try to manipulate her mother because she loves her so much. But this is the same girl you say that Clara does not care about. But you're telling your daughter, based on the fact that Clara loves her, Clara will not want to lose her. And even your daughter have sense more than you. She's what? Because this girl is trying to ask her father, like, Dad, this will not be fair. You want mother to quit and do what? He wants his mother. He just wants to be the man. Yes. He wants to be the man. He wants his wife to quit and sit at home. He wants to be out there, to be hustling, to be carrying his shoulder up, be going and be drinking with his friends. Not all men can run homes. I'm sorry, not all men can take care of their family, because there are some men that does not have hustling spirits in them. Unfortunately, he is one of them. Yes. And something must have guided. Maybe he had it, but something must have guided. But pride will not let this man rest. How can you, a man, a sensible man, be manipulating your own daughter? Asking her to do things just because you alone cannot manage to, tell your wife what to do. Now, your daughter, you know very well that your wife loves your daughter so much. You want her to manipulate her mother, to make her understand that if she does not leave this, she does not, she have to, no, to make her know that she will have to choose, between the restaurant and them. How do you do that? Like, how do people have minds to do certain things? There are some things I wonder sometimes, like, how do people do it? Because you must have a heart of stone, heart of steel, to want to ask your daughter to manipulate your wife like that. And the girl, she wants her family whole, so she's ready to do anything. So the next scene shows Jonathan, Clara, Jennifer, Benny, and Clara's mother. They are all gathered. It is the next day, and they are expecting Clara to say something, because Jonathan gave her an ultimatum of a day. She needs to have come up with something by now. She needs to have something to say. So, but now it was Benny that was doing the questioning. It was shocking. Benny was the one asking her mother what she has decided based on the discussion that their father had the previous day. And that her mother needs to take a decision because it's very important. Like, how did the thing matter switch from your mother from your father rather to you all of a sudden? How? And that's why Jennifer is trying to understand Benny. Like, is she okay? Like, how, since when? Why is she the one doing the talking? And Clara is looking at her daughter, because Clara knows this girl. Clara knows her daughter very well. Clara is trying to understand, like, what is going on. It is obvious that something is wrong, because for her daughter to just wake up and start talking like that, something is obviously wrong. But what is going on? What is the problem? But Jonathan, knowing fully well that he put his daughter up to this, he does not want Jennifer to speak to his daughter. He does not. He just wants Jennifer to stay out of it, because he knows very well that Jennifer is against. Like, she's not taking that. She's not there for his shenanigans. So Jennifer is trying to understand that you people are busy saying all these things. Clara, you want her to stay at home to do what actually? Exactly, like, what is she supposed to be at home doing? Yes, because for her to be at home, she must be doing something, right? She must be at home for a reason. So what will she be at home for? Because it's not about her being at home. What will she be at home for? That's what she wants to know. Because it's not as if what's her name? Benny is a child. It's not as if she's a toddler. She's not a toddler. She doesn't wear diapers. That her mother, or she's not taking breast milk anymore. That her mother will sit at home to breastfeed her. So why would she be at home? But knowing Clara looked at her daughter, and Clara knows that this is not her daughter speaking. Yes, Clara knows very well that her daughter is being manipulated, and it will be that none other than her husband. It will be none other than her husband. So she's trying to understand, like, okay, let's assume that I choose not to do this. I choose to keep the restaurant. What happens? Yes, what will happen if I choose to keep the restaurant? Her daughter made her understand that she'll be obliged to live with her father. Yes, that if her father chooses to leave, she'll be living with her father. And we all know that Clara's mother can never say anything right. She will always take the side of staying with your husband for better, for worse, even if it's fine you staying in that marriage, just because she does not want the name of that divorce. I don't know. See, like, as people should normalize not listening to your parents when they are making mistakes. I'm sorry. Listen, if you know this thing is wrong, don't do it. Don't do it because your mother or your father tells you it's right. No. We should be able, when you're no longer a teenager, when you're an adult, I'm not talking about that kind of stubbornness that you know that this thing is wrong. Your parents are advising you and you still go and do it. No, I'm talking about those parents that think like somebody that behaves like Clara's mother now. That because I'll always take example with late Mama Osinachi. The reason she's not more today is because of things parents like this. You know, her husband was beating her, maltreating her, mistreating even her children, as they said, was also beating her because her husband said so. But she will not leave the marriage because her parents did not want her to. Yes, when you have those type of parents, you have to be able to tell them no. They've given birth to you, they've trained you the way they could, they've tried their best, you appreciate it. But this is your life, you have to live it because we all have one life. You know, because if you do not live your life the way you should and the way it should be lived, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Yes, you will regret it. You know, Clara's mother, all she knows is you have to stay in the marriage. Even if your husband is doing anyhow, you have to stay there. She's not seeing anything wrong with what Jonathan is doing. She's not even seeing anything wrong with the fact that Benny is being, you know, manipulated by her father. She's not seeing that at all. All she's seeing is that Clara must be a sit-at-home mom. In these days, you want a woman, a full-grown woman, not a handicap, to sit at home, because even people that are handicapped do not sit at home. They want to work. They want to be busy, you know, because not like stress alone could buy you. Jennifer is trying to understand why Benita wants her mother to sit at home so desperately, knowing fully well that she's no longer a toddler, like I was saying earlier, you know. Or is it that you want your mother to start breastfeeding you at 16 years old? Because very soon now, you grow up to be a woman. You'll be an adult, a young adult. So that time now, what will your mother be doing by then? And as for the money, because she's telling her mother that the savings, you know, you have, give it to my father to start a business. We'll sit at home and father will take care of us. Can you imagine that? Because Jennifer is trying to understand, like, please make it make sense. Because at this point, I don't understand what is going on. You know, your mother should sit at home to spoon feed you. What is she sitting at home to do exactly? Please tell us, what do you want her to sit at home to do? To just be looking at your face? Just to look at you? Because her father has made her understand that if it wasn't for her, if her mother was not busy, none of this would have happened. But I don't know that there's somebody, an insider, that is doing all of this. You'll be blaming this woman for something she didn't do. You know, this is crazy, Likers. Likers, I'm going to end this video. Honestly speaking, you know, I'll always say this, please. Marriage is not a do or die affair. People should be very careful when they are choosing their partners. It is good to dialogue. It is good to want to know, to see the red flags, because it's true that some people will hide it. But see, don't be ashamed to quit your marriage, especially if it has to do with manipulations like this. You know, please have I'm always telling people, if you don't have like 5 to 10 million naira, I know some people will come for me. If you like, come for me. I don't say your papa. If you don't have money as a woman, you don't have your own money that you could boast of. Yes, 5 to 10 million naira is too much. Okay, you don't have some substantial amount of money, even like 500, 1 million naira, 2 million, or you're doing your little business. Please, if you're empty, don't go and marry. Yes, because anything they put in your mouth, you eat it, because you want to stay married. Especially when you come from a poor family, a poor background, and you have parents that reasons like Clara's mother. You eat anything they give you. Likers, protect your mental health. Please, it's very important. Protect your mental health. Because if not, at the end of the day, you realize that you break down. You'll be in a marriage where you're struggling. It's of no use. Protect your mental health is very important. Okay, it is very, very important. People should always know this. Marriage is not a do or die affair. You know, and it will be better to be alone than to be in a useless marriage like this one. On this note, I have to say,